We should be live. I'm not sure exactly how live we are, but we'll see in a second. This is not something I've done before. Alright, let's check this out. Maybe if I can get in on YouTube's end, pull up the chat, I can actually be prepared to do this. No, none of my buttons seem to be working on this end. Strange. Why it's not showing up? Oh, there it is. Here we go. Alright, we're actually in here on this end. Howdy. Alright. So this is what we're doing. We're doing a test stream because I haven't done a stream. Haven't done a stream from my PlayStation for a very long time. Haven't streamed from my PlayStation since I was using the PlayStation 4, which burnt to the ground. But we're just going to do some relic farming and see how it goes. Because I don't know how well the audio is going to be. I don't think the audio is going to be very good since I'm just using this headset here. Void Cascade. That's not my preferred Omnia Fisher, but I guess we'll do it anyway. I'm not training anything up in particular right now. I'm not looking for anything particular. We're just playing to play. We'll see how it goes. Using my gear build just so that I can brain off and not have to worry about anything really for pretty much the entire time. And I have no idea how long the stream is going to be. It could be an hour, it could be 30 minutes. It depends on two very specific factors, whether or not it is time for me to be summoned away to dinner. Because it's my wife's turn to cook dinner tonight, or if it is time for me to feed the cats, because I made a mistake and I ran the dishwasher before I realized it was going to be time to feed the cats long before
that got their attention.
We would be
enemy forces moving to your location.
Done with the dishwasher.
A Fisher, defend yourself and use reactant to open relics.
So we'll see how this goes.
Collect reactant to open your relic.
Playing video games and talking at the same time is not something I'm experienced with.
Don't forget the reactant. You need more to open that relic.
So the worst thing about using the PlayStation to stream with for Warframe is choosing where the camera goes, because every single corner has important information other than the bottom left.
Cascade receding.
So I suppose I could move the camera over to the bottom left, but then it looks a little strange. It looks as though I'm not looking at the screen. So that's odd.
Do not try to stay
They will kill me and take my gear.
Tenno, listen carefully.
Is the Grognak 3 going to show up on the Zeramin? I don't think I've ever seen the mission invade on the Zeramin.
Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
It is the Grognak 3. I haven't seen them in an extremely long time. What's up, Derek?
That was the last of the Groove.
How you doing?
You took a risk, but it paid off.
I really wish Warframe would introduce some more invasion, mission invasions, because after a while they get a bit samey.
The enemy has triggered the release of a possessed
but I know there are
Exilizer.
tough design
Purge it
problems.
before it pumps out even more void contamination.
They're mainly a tough design problem because you have to figure out a way to work around Warframe's
Spent
overpowered
Exilizer has
builds
been retired.
so that they don't just
Contamination
disappear
spreading.
immediately, like with Corrupted Vor, and the meme of basically him never being able to finish his speech
Possessed Exilizer
because his
located.
speech is far
Purge it
longer
and make it work for us.
than the amount of time it will take for any average player to actually defeat him. Alright, purged. Why does it not let me
Exilizer spent.
go back in sometimes? There we go. Hey. Well, welcome back to the game. I am not someone who plays Warframe all that much just to play it. I suppose that's not exactly true, but I do try to prioritize
Keep those
other
manifestations
games
away from the Exilizers.
when I'm not actively working on a video for the channel.
We
Uh-oh.
just lost an Exilizer to possession.
We
Get
did
it
lose
back.
an Exilizer. And that's entirely my fault.
Void contamination dropping. Now the Exilizer's purged. Any casualties you inflict within its field will bring the contamination level down.
This is why this level, this mission type is not my favorite for
Our enemy
farming
has abandoned
relics.
valuable supplies.
Is because
This is yours now.
it's very...
You're cleared to self-extract. when you're ready.
How do you say it? It's very involved. Like, it needs a lot of active... it needs you to be very active. It needs you to be very on top of all of the mission objectives. And that makes farming a bit of a bore, a bit of a bother. Because ideally, all you really want to do is be killing a bunch of things, pick up the void essence, and pop the relic and move on. Having to actually also balance a mission creates a it creates too much of a cognitive load, if you ask me. It should be the core gameplay
Void
first
contamination
and
critical.
only.
Do these invaders have any idea what demons they have invoked upon us all?
But none were available, so this is what we live with for now. Perhaps there will be a
Exilizer spent.
survival mission that launches right after we're done with this one, and I can pay less attention while doing this stream. That
We're
would
down
be
an
my
Exilizer,
ideal scenario.
Working on backups.
Well, actually, my ideal scenario right now would be going and playing Weird West, because I'm on part 4 of 5 for that game, and I'm really excited to see how that story concludes, because I've really gotten into the flow of that game. It's a very interesting Western twin-stick shooter and immersive sim, which is a combination of genres I don't think anyone will ever see again.
That's
Weird
it.
West is a
You
great
opened
game
the relic.
if
Finish your
anyone
mission
has
and we'll take a
any
look
interest
inside.
in, I guess, something that
Spent
looks
Exilizer
like
has been
a
retired.
classic WRPG but plays entirely differently. Alright, let's see. Do I even want to bother with the threat? Like, are we going to even
Cascade
stick around
intensifying.
for one more round of this after this? I kind of feel like no.
This discovery might interest you.
Where's the other one? There it is. Yeah, I mean, we just opened the relic, so are we even staying for another round? That's the question. Okay. Right now, my primary aim for farming is just collecting Warframe parts to resell sets and earn some platinum for Fashion Frame. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this. I'm not having fun with Void Cascade while Relic farming. Not my ideal scenario. Oh, hell yeah, Derek. I kind of thought when I brought up Weird West that absolutely no one was going to know what I was talking about. Western games are not actually all that popular, and so it makes me a little bit worried to try to convince anyone to play games that
Readings
have
are off the
Western
charts.
aesthetics.
I don't know what sort of nightmares you might encounter.
For whatever reason, that kind of traditional Americana doesn't work unless you add a bunch of other specific factors. Like, I would say the game that works best with that Americana
manifestation
vibe,
is
there are
possessing an
two
equalizer.
games
Stop
that
it
do
before
Americana
it feeds the
extremely well, and that would be the Fallout series. I'll just say the series. Some games are better or worse at it. New Vegas is, of course, top for feeling like a cowboy. But then there is Final Fantasy 15, and that is more just modern Midwest Americana. But the fact that a JRPG is the quintessential title for playing Americana in the AAA space, that's a strange world we live in now, isn't it? Alright. Are we even getting out of here? Where's my count? Wait, we have to...
Spent Exilizer has been retired.
Do we have... Hold on. Since when were Cascade missions group evac? Like, I don't think extraction was required group before. That's very strange. Oh, and that's my fault. I was not paying attention. Does anyone in chat happen to know if Void Cascade was always group evacuation,
Those void nightmares
group
are
extraction?
hell-bent on one thing: manifesting more nightmares.
Because I never thought that was the case, and typically the Omnia
We've found an
Fishers
Exilizer. Working on
use
backups.
endless game modes that don't require that.
The void has manifested something other than a nightmare.
Very strange.
The reactant is working on your relic. Find more.
I mean, obviously I can't choose anything because I didn't put a relic in because I thought I was leaving. Let's wait to see what others are going to do, to see if we can actually extract this time. All right, people are doing things,
Marking
so
the
I guess I'm
possessed
staying.
Exilizer. Deal with it while you still can.
Ugh. All right, so official regret, immediate regret, complete regret. Did not realize that Void Cascade was going to have... I couldn't extract individually.
Get started.
That is
Work off some of this too.
very annoying. Alright, well, I guess I'll just ignore the
You've collected enough
Exilizers
reactant to open
until
the relic.
we're actually, like, in a risky
Exilizer spent.
position.
Exilizer spent.
After this, I'm probably also going to move the camera. Oh, those are helpers.
Contamination levels going in the wrong direction.
It sure is, buddy. It is absolutely going in the wrong direction. And I care barely at all. For now.
cascade is approaching critical levels. Your time is running out.
Let's see. How is halfway critical levels? I'm sure everyone else will do it. They can carry me, I'll be lazy.
Contamination subsiding.
Cool. Alright, here's a question for chat. Which Eximus do you think is the most annoying to deal with? I have two answers for which Eximus unit I think is the worst to actually come up against. And of course it depends on your build, depends on which warframe you're running. I tend to run pretty low health warframes, so you may understand what my you may know what my most hated Eximus units are just from that. My main defense strategies are usually energy tanking, having high shield, or just straight up damage reduction. Stacking damage reduction on top of each other.
Spent Exilizer has been retired.
Arctic Corpus is really the one you dislike the most? How come? Because see, my strategy for dealing with any of the Arctic
We're down an Exilizer. Working on backups.
is to just run into the snow globe. Unless it's also a neutralizer. Because I guess that makes it real tough when the Corpus... Oh, wow. When the Corpus is a neutralizer and the snow globe Exilis, that is extremely frustrating. I absolutely understand that. Because you can't just run in unless you're built for melee, unless you're built to tank that. Yeah, okay, that's what I kind of figured you meant. Kind of figured you were talking about the neutralizer bubble on top of the snow globe. The fact that that can happen is just bad luck with how Exilis units are.
We're down an Exilizer. Working on backups.
Are generated, randomly generated
Exilizer
amongst the
spin.
possible enemy types. I did not have my build up.
This cascade is growing out of control.
Really? Okay, so some of his phrases are just canned. Because if we're at complete control and they say this cascade is out of control, he just says different lines whenever one of the events occurs.
Spent Exilizer has been retired.
Ah, he's leaving. There we go. I was wondering why I got shifted to operator mode. It was because the this thing, the Grenier unit's anti-warframe field, or whatever they were called. I know there's a name for it. Murex fields. How did the Grenier learn the ability to put up a Murex field and prevent warframes from being used? That is my first question about these Grenier. Because personally, I don't believe that the Grenier from the Zeramin are the same faction of Grenier, due to some weird language during the Holdfast quest. I think it's some timey-wimey eternalism stuff that just kind of got glossed over and is not terribly important. Or is it Orphix field? I think that's the word they used for the sentience ability to turn off the warframes.
Exalizer spent.
Alright,
See what
let's
you make
take
of
care
this.
of an Exalizer. See, we're contributing. We're part of the team. I didn't even notice we were done yet. None of those are 25. Alright. Akazama and I will just trade some extra Void Essence. Alright. These guys look like they're in it for the long haul. I think I really
Exalizer has been retired.
got unlucky with this. Does anyone in the chat happen to
Down
know
an Exalizer.
if
Working on backups.
if Void Cascade missions are supposed to be team extract? Because this is honestly frustrating me. I didn't think they were. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then I just am, and I have to accept it. That's my choice. But if this is bug frame being bug frame, I want to know.
You have collected enough reactant to open your relic.
Let's ignore everyone and go grab that ribbon sliver. I have a billion of them, but you can always use more. Wow, we actually got far enough away from the combat that the action music stopped, and we went back to the stealth music.
Spent Exalizer has been retired.
Whoop! Almost ran
Exalizer
right
spent.
into that guy.
Struggle has its benefits.
Y'all ready to go yet? Do. Okay. Are y'all good? You've done 5 rounds. Surely that's enough. Cool. We can free me from this mission type once and for all.
We're down an Exalizer. Working on backups. Cascade
Alright.
intensifying. Exalizer suppressed.
Well, that went
Purge
okay.
it before it makes the contamination worse. Cascade is approaching critical levels. Your time is running out. Good work. You did all you could out there.
Alright, what should we do next? If there isn't an Omnia Fissure
Even though the mission was aborted, you
that
are all
isn't
safe.
this Void
That means
Cascade
we won today.
mission type. Let's see. In a,
I think the two little boys are
probably
finally
in
playing
about
nice together.
45 minutes is when the day starts over, so running and grabbing all of the weekly ribbons isn't something that I can do right now. I suppose we could
All limbs
farm
intact? No
Nightwave.
extra holes? Good.
That would be strange.
Nobody gets to see you break a sweat except me.
You know what I have found to be the most efficient, but also the kind of the most boring. Oh, I didn't want to join a squad. Dang it. Kind of the most boring way to get the kill 300 enemies with your Void Rig without dying achievement when you are doing your Nightwave. It is literally just to go to Deimos here, run around in the open world, and shoot things. It is not an invalid launch point. And hopefully it's not wildlife that doesn't count immediately. Get my bearings, figure out where I was spat out. Partially because doing this on Deimos, you almost always find an Eximus unit somewhere. Pretty much every section of the map has an Eximus unit hanging in every group before you arrive, which is different than it's different than when you're on Venus or in Fortuna or Valis or Cetus, Eidolon Plains. Because their groups tend not to have any Eximus units until you actually start up a mission, an objective, something. But Deimos will just have them around. So for the very rarely farmed arc guns, stop it. You can get a lot of affinity pretty quickly by coming here instead of the other missions. Now, of course, the best way to train affinity, though, for Void Rigs, in my opinion, is to have someone else on your team be very, very good and go do a conjunction survival node. The conjunction survival node, staying in affinity range with other players and letting that universal affinity build up on your Void Rig, seems to be the most efficient way to get Void Rig affinity for these arc guns. How is it that it's doing the straight fire every time and not the shotgun? I have once again run into a different kind of bug, but this one is actually in my favor, because it's giving me the charge shot literally immediately, and that is strange. That is abnormal. Those are Vulpaphyla, not infested. Yeah, it's giving me the full charge shot every time for no reason. That's neat. I guess we'll take advantage of that. Don't know why it's happening. But I'm not going to complain about this one. This is actually a good bug. This is my favor. Unless I were to somehow run across an infested that was particularly squirrely and was dodging the beam. But the beam has a little bit of width to it, so it's usually not that easy to dodge. Whoop. Gotcha. Yep, but just doing this. This is the best way for me, I think, to clear that Nightwave mission. When I've tried to do this in squads with people just using their regular warframes, you know, it's very easy for them to kill steal these slow honkin' things. Very easy for them to do way more damage. So, my least favorite Eximus unit is the Venomous Eximus units. The Venomous and the Leech Eximus are the absolute worst for me, because they typically are on infested that have the behavior of just running straight at you, and that proximity is what triggers their health drain. Oh, buddy, I'm nowhere near being able to get to you. That's your own fault, my guy. I cannot get you up. You are 600 M away. This is why I meant to switch over to solo first, but c'est la vie, c'est la guerre. Oh, I'm not in my void rig anymore. Come on out. Here we are. Back to missions. Aww. And that reset my bug. Maybe there's a way I can re-trigger it. No, I don't think so. I think we're back to the shotgun blast. Thanks to that host. Let's see. If I dash and then charge. Nope. That's not how I did it before. I'll never figure it out again. Dang. If that bug was reproducible, that would have been great. I'd actually start using the mangonel as a weapon. There he is. So it's much better than it was before, but there was a time when Deimos first launched where the visibility was absolutely atrocious, in my opinion. I had a lot of difficulty being able to discern at any moment the enemies against the landscape, and I do still somewhat struggle with that now whenever the enemies are red colored. But they've made a lot of updates and changes so that they have these cyan blue energy highlights, or that they're red when they're red they don't perfectly match the red of the world behind them. Yeah, see what I mean? The Venomous Eximus, they're always on an enemy type that runs right up to you to do a melee attack. And that's frustrating. It means my low health builds die immediately. And yes, I could just, not bring gear in to do any of the infested missions. But I don't like change. Who's up here? below me. I don't see him. Oh, way down there. There he is. Very good. Alright, let's go back this way. Oop, wrong button. Now I'm forgetting how to... There we go. Forgetting Void Rig controls. Even though they map to Warframe controls. Alright, only 90 more. Riveting stuff, riveting. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay. Just posted a new video to the channel, by the way, everyone. Not a Warframe video. This one is a collaborative project that I did with a group of essayists that are called the Essay Library. I've collaborated with them in the past. This one was interesting because it was not just or what we were calling mixtapes before, of collaborations of shorter essays with different essayists, but it was an essay jam, like a game jam. We all only had 48 hours to conceptualize, write, gather the raw materials, and compose a video essay within that 48-hour period. And the playlist is probably already available on the Essay Library's channel, if anyone wants to watch that after this, after I clock out here. Guys, stop that. But there will also be a very large compilation video that's made later, where the organizers are not exactly sure how they're going to do that right now, because the Essay Jam had a lot more participation than our typical mixtapes. I've sat out a couple mixtapes, so I really wanted to be a part of this one. And it was really fun. I didn't have very much time at all from the start hour, the starting line on Friday. And so most of my time was actually spent not making the video essay. Usually,
annihilate that life form.
Usually when I make a video essay, I do most of my thinking about how it's going to be composed while I'm actually in the video editor. And this one I had to do almost entirely conceptually before I got started.
You were not supposed to mess.
And it was a different method for me. It was interesting. I actually got my work done a lot faster than I expected. And so it's going to be... I guess I learned something about how my workflow for creating essays goes when making this. Which is the whole point of doing one of these, a jam like this. Being able to learn something about yourself, stretch your skills, and develop some new ones based on the limitations. So the topic for the jam was journey. And I ended up... And it's something that I feel like I've written about quite a lot, actually. I suppose I took the easy way out to a certain extent in terms of my subject matter by choosing just the obvious, my own personal journey through life, as opposed to some topic related to something topical. I could have talked about the video game journey, but I'm glad I didn't, because a few other people ended up going that route, and that would have made my contribution a little bit less unique. I saw someone write about Sable, which is a journey-like, and one of my favorite games in the journey-like genre. I've played a lot of games like Journey. Well, actually, hold on. I think I only saw one person write about Journey. Interesting. I guess I combined Sable and Journey in my mind when looking at the playlist. But yeah, it'll be exciting to review all those and see what everyone else made. I made a kind of medium length video. I know someone made a 20-minute video in that 48 hours. That was very impressive. People had much longer scripts than I did. But I hope everyone enjoys that. I hope everyone who's here for Warframe will take a moment to step out of their comfort zone and take a look at the other videos that I have to offer. I'd appreciate it very much if any of you take a look at that after we're done with the stream here. And once I have the links, I'll put in the description. I'll put in the description of that video and make a post showing where everyone can see everyone else's projects. I appreciate that, Derek. I can say that it will be something that you do not expect from me if you have not seen my other, more minimalist projects, where I kind of focus more on the video. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Why was he running like that? But yeah, my more minimalist projects don't focus more on the video aspect of being a video essay than on the essay aspect. And while that's very normal for essayists in the essay making scene to look at projects like that, I think the average person doesn't see the forward video essay too often. Things that don't really use or rely on voiceover, but still communicate a point, an argument, an idea, that sort of thing. I imagine we'll actually see a lot of that, but maybe not. I don't know where that one infested went. Nor do I know what my progress is. I haven't actually been paying attention to see if I'm anywhere close. Let's just check. Where are we at with this?
What's on your mind, dreamers?
Oh, we've actually exceeded it. Oh no, oh no! The day rolled over, and I didn't get my 300. Oh, lame.
That's all from me.
Lame. I started working on an entirely different count and didn't realize it. Boo. Okay, that's enough. We'll probably re-unlock it and I'll do it off stream. It's likely going to be one of my first recovered Nightwave objectives. Mayor, what's up? How you doing? Wait, am I going the right way? I am not going the right way. Here we go. Alright, let's get out of here. So one thing that I learned while I was doing tests for this stream is that unfortunately, I'm not able to switch the game that I'm playing mid-stream, which would be very convenient, especially if I were to do something like doing a little bit of playing Warframe for everyone who's at the channel for Warframe, and then doing a little bit of playing of something else for me. That would be my ideal scenario, but the PlayStation 5 software doesn't seem to have that capability. And that is... Oh, I called you Mayor. It's Mayahara. Whoops. Sorry, Mayahara. My eyes played a little bit of a trick on me. Yeah, something I've been thinking of doing for streaming is to do various playthroughs of different playthroughs of Lies of P, because I've gone through the game twice now. I've done my standard run through with the rapier weapon, the wintry rapier, and I have done a second private playthrough where I've used the scythe weapon in that game, and that was very fun. I very much believe that the scythe is going to be my top tier weapon when playing, or at least in my memory. Oh, right. This is also group extract, so I have to leave squad first if it allows me, and then I have to extract. That's how that works. Forgot about that. But yeah, what would happen right now is if I switched over to Lies of P, the stream would stop. It would just hard stop, just like it did on the PlayStation 4. And then you guys would have to come back in, look for a new notification of me going live, and deal with things from there. And that's a pain in the butt for you all. I would have thought that that specific issue would have been fixed with the PlayStation 5 because of how much more focused the PlayStation 5 was with all of its launch messaging on improving the sharing aspects, the socializing aspects of the game, of the console. And it does sort of seem like the ball was dropped in this one particular regard. Alright, let's see. Well, fire rate for this gun, because it already has a pretty high fire rate. On reload from empty. See, that's interesting because this mod is really good as a standard damage boost for small ammo and when you're using it as an arc gun, but not when you are not when you're in arc wing, or not when you are in a void rig, because you don't reload. Or you do with arc wing, but you don't reload with void rig. It charges regardless of its ammo type. Yeah, whereas this one is the exact opposite. Good for charging with the void rig, but not otherwise. Let's see. Adding multi-shot right now, is that better or worse than just going straight toxin damage? It's really even. So I'd rather add some multi-shot and just throw... What's the slash on this weapon? Impact is its primary. So if I were to grab one of the melee damage types, the physical damage types, I'd want to go with impact. Yeah, whatever. We're not going to use it anytime soon. Right now, we are going to run around the universe and get ribbons and iotans. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Maihara. But and this is kind of true for all of the video game consoles, they all wanted walled gardens for the longest time. They still do. Nintendo especially really wants a walled garden for all of its own IP, but has grown extremely lax with what other IP it allows on its system, because it's no longer competing with other consoles. All of the consoles are competing with mobile phones and Steam. Mobile phones are the vast majority of the market, and Steam is the rest of the market for hardcore gaming. Console gaming, like me, is actually surprisingly, it's the cost-effective, cheap way to play just a few games, mostly a few free-to-play titles. You do one large drop once to actually get the console, with the company usually selling at a loss. And then you have access to all of the free-to-play titles, and you keep playing that console for like 5 to 6 years. So I literally just purchase Riven mods right now, not because I have any desire at all to unlock Rivens, because I find that extremely tedious and unfun, and ultimately not necessary, because they just get you extra super stats, but you don't really need Rivens to even be competitive in Steel Path. So it's just bonus. It's just bonus for the people who are really into it. And I'm not into unlocking the Riven challenges. Not for me. But yes, essentially in terms of walled garden status, basically if you are the industry leader in any given console cycle, that's when you really want to prioritize your status as a walled garden. When you are the underdogs, that's when you start promoting services, accessibility, connection with other players, and it swaps back and forth. They switch what that messaging is whenever they aren't the front runner. When the Nintendo Wii was the front runner, absolutely Nintendo was all about, even in the social aspects, in the internet aspects, creating that walled garden.
And whose business?
Now they only prioritize a little bit of that connection because they have to be competitive with... They absolutely have to be competitive with what they are seeing.
Let's see what happens.
From the other consoles and from online play.
Curious.
What is the Exodus Warframe? That's more Pathos Clamps, of course they are. We're not doing a Duviri run right now. Or like Xbox, with the Game Pass and focusing on community and being... just having the best deal in gaming to try to attract people with the service. You know that absolutely would not be the case if Sony, if they were the front runner over Sony. Okay. I'm forgetting the location of Rivens. I grabbed the ones from... Oh, Teshin. Teshin is another Riven location. We will look at him in a second. I'm going to go see if I have the standing to purchase an Archon Shard from Bird 3. It's just the weekly chores that we all do. I don't think Nintendo is anywhere close to throwing out its hardware as a key aspect of its business. Arguably, not even arguably, compared to any of the other big platforms, Nintendo focuses on hardware as a selling point mainly because it sells different, weird hardware with different control schemes or shapes. Like they really do think of themselves as a toy company, even now, despite being being one of the number one makers of complete not toy, like an entirely different class of product. I think the fact that they went with a Switch 2 as opposed to that is still going to be a walled garden and have been planning it for years upon years. I think that is proof enough to me that they do not have any intention of going the way of a pure software developer like Sony and Xbox. Now they may still do that eventually. Not anytime soon, but eventually. Because Xbox has been in a losing position. They weren't able to get Game Pass to be profitable the way it was supposed to be. A lot of the big studios that are associated with what is an Xbox game, unless it's the third-party studios that aren't actually associated with Xbox, but people think of Xbox when they're going to play them, are things like, your Ubisoft open world games. Well, Ubisoft is imploding upon itself as we speak. They've been imploding for like a year and a half now. And their next game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's not going to do well. They need that to be the blockbuster #1 most successful video game of all time, and it's not going to be. And the ball's going to fall on that. It just is. And I honestly, really other third-party but associated with Xbox titles or companies don't really come to mind for me right now. Proof in the pudding. That's probably evidence enough that I can't even think of any other than the one that's having a terrible time. Let's just switch over to Maru here.
You're looking for Maru's Bazaar. You've come to the right place. Lucky for you, I've got a hot tip on the That's the spirit. Let's go!
But yeah, so Xbox is more likely than any of them to be the next one to become a software-only developer. They're very likely to go the way of Sega because they have Microsoft behind them. They don't need that kind of... They don't need that kind of profit from the gaming sector if it's not the most profit ever. They just need to have low overhead, low cost, relatively speaking, from a video game development standpoint. And if they're going to be losing on consoles, but then not having the titles as people go and do their free-to-play over on Sony and PC, they're going to switch to something. I don't know what that something is, but they need to figure out a way to make medium titles profitable again, but I don't think they have the luxury of being able to do that when everything is about investment capital on the size of Microsoft, but not getting the payouts Microsoft is expected to get.
This should be fun. Maybe you should stretch first. Limber up.
Sony then, while we're thinking about it, Sony is also starting to play ball in that they're moving I'm saying the word first-party titles.
Don't look now,
Over
tin
two.
stuff. There's
They're
an
moving first-party
I-10
titles over
nearby.
to PC, but
You
only
got it. Now
when they
bring it
have a
home.
remaster or a sequel or they're older that creates the opportunity for a sale on consoles. So they're still prioritizing their console business, but they're opening it up to PC more and more. Nintendo, however, Nintendo will always, I believe,
Stay focused.
stick to that
There's a
walled
heavy unit
garden
approaching.
because they know that a Nintendo fan is not exactly the same thing as a video game fan. There are lots of fans of video games in general that love Nintendo, that play Nintendo a lot. I count myself among their number, though I don't do a lot of the things like repurchasing old titles on every console at full price that a lot of Nintendo fans make a point to do. But if you are a Nintendo fan and not a video game fan, they know they have you. They absolutely know they have you. That's why they never do a discount. There's no policy that is consumer friendly that they try to follow. They make their toy, you buy the toy, and then you buy your nostalgia. And that has been the definition of Nintendo's Blue Ocean strategy since the Wii U failed. Because they couldn't create a new toy that competed with the entire market. So instead of compete with the entire market, just make sure that your base continues spending money at the pace you decide they're going to. That's Nintendo's Blue Ocean strategy. It's not provide a unique service. It's provide the only place to get the brand. It is comfort branding.
That mutant
And it's
cat is
genius,
staring at
to
my
be honest, the
muffins
fact
again.
that they've been able to keep that going for so long. Alright, let's socket that Iatan.
And all are on principle doomed to failure. Thus it amounts to the same thing, whether
Auto
one is
install.
alone or is a leader of nations.
Done. And those are also, Iatans are also something that I try to sell for plat. I usually only sell Rivens or Iatans for 5 plat each. I keep it really low because there's so many other ways to get a massive amount of endo. There's this, there's railjack missions, there is drops in some of the higher level endless mission types, like large sums of endo, like 1200 endo per reward, are something that you can get from completing, what's it called? These tech rot missions.
Long day?
These ones here, Legasite Harvest. In fact, you know what? That actually sounds kind of fun. Let's do a Legasite Harvest just for the hell of it. I have been playing with this concept here. And this is something, this is a play style I have not
Rough day.
tried before until Kome. Kome was the change that made me consider this to be a viable playstyle. Now, I've already tried this against Steel Path Grenier. It doesn't work against Steel Path Grenier. But using... It's essentially never pumping your damage. Just focusing on fire rate, multi-shot. Elements, I suppose they count, but elements are like a more efficient way of increasing your damage per bullet. And you can see the actual damage numbers here. Very low. It's extremely low. 216, but per bullet, shooting 20 bullets per second. But not just 20 bullets per second, because Reconiflex is a little bit different in that when you... So its perfect reload essentially makes it so that you spend very little time with the reload speed. I don't even really have to mod it. I have it here just in case. I find that pumping this primed fast hands gets me to an even faster turnover between reload and fire rate, but it's the combination of elements and fire rate and multi-shot that makes this work. So primary frostbite is the arcane here because it gives both critical damage and multi-shot. Multi-shot creates more bullets per bullet, so you get more from a higher fire rate with multi-shot than you would with a lower fire rate with multi-shot. Because this is a weapon that a primary that I'm going to be reloading, I have one of the few on reload mods that create a beneficial effect, which increases fire rate even more. I really wish there were more on reload mods, because if we look at reload, there's actually very little to choose from. Radiated reload, add some damage, creates increased reload speed. Tainted mag, reload speed down, magazine capacity up. Tactical reload. Tactical reload, I actually found out, this really messes up the synergy with the Reconiflex. The tactical reload when you use your melee weapon, or when you switch to sidearm, but not even when you switch to sidearm. Just using melee turns off the bonus fire damage, the bonus heat damage you get from doing a perfect reload, because it counts as a reload, but it's not using this perfect reload mechanic. So tactical reload is actually terrible for this weapon, because you lose the extra 25% heat damage and guaranteed status effect and have to reload again the second you use a melee attack. That's not synergistic design right there. But that's it. That's this, and spring-loaded chamber are all Reconiflex has in terms of building around the concept of reloading. But you'll see that that isn't really all that much of a problem right now, because so long as you are using a warframe that is a weapons platform, you can really push this into high end game content. Maybe not end game Steel Path against Grenier, maybe against Corpus. I haven't actually tried that yet due to armor and how armor works. But you're going to see that when I...
Fat chance.
Oh, not here. I need to go to the computer. With the current build that I have on... Oh, squad. I keep forgetting I'm in public mode. With the current build that I have on my Saren, we have the Toxic Lash, which increases damage, but then we have the Augment that gives squad buff damage when we hold down spores, which really buffs any of the damage that you're going to be using. And I'll try to demonstrate it with some enemy here.
Its precious legacytes and nip its growth in the bud. Follow Kalimo.
And see if we can, if I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. So we're going to find an enemy first.
Good. Keep her safe while she sniffs out the Techrot's darling legacyte.
And we're just going to shoot it. We're going to shoot it and see how that looks.
Reeking and saturated with hormones and a sure sign.
It technically works if you're willing to be patient when you do no buffs and just put a lot of damage on it. But now I have the heat damage. Let me see if I can't get away from the others. And they're melting. As if I had buffed damage. They're just completely melting.
Kalimos is hurt. She's recovering,
so now,
need to protect her.
We're going to add Saren's buffs. Both of them. And the heat buff. And with a high fire rate weapon like this, they are still going down, the average enemy going down in 2 bullets. And that is with no damage modded onto the weapon whatsoever. I am starting to believe, from all of my experiences building differently since Komei's release, that Warframe is a game where you can not build for damage at all and still be completely viable. Now you may have to build a lot to get there. It may not be as simple or straightforward a build, but I do absolutely believe that to be the case because I'm seeing it happen in front of me all the time. Let's see if I can get to that Legacite. I will not get to that Legacite before the others do. Because they are already on their way, and I am behind. Oh! Other Legacites. Get my healing up. Wait, which one's the real one? There it is.
It's trying to run.
We did it.
Stop it. Escape is failure.
Alright, let's see how long this group wants to go.
Hurry, harvest now. End this generation.
This is probably going to be the last mission that I play before we get going. Call it a stream.
Either flee to
just a heads up.
now, or if you have it in you, ask Kalimos to find the next Legacite. Remember, the tech.
Derek, there is no need to take notes, none at all, because there's going to be a VOD. You're going to be able to rewatch this section. I could even make a standalone video of it if it's interesting enough, if it's worthwhile for the watch time. We'll see how that goes.
Albania and her people funneled into this monster.
But I have a lot of thoughts about building without damage. And even though I'm currently using Saren, I have to say, right now my favorite Warframe is still Komei. And I do, in my free time, prioritize Komei whenever the mission type can accommodate it. Certain mission types, it's designed for different kinds of builds. Darn it, I missed the perfect reload. That's okay, we'll just do it again. Like anything that's a boss, Komei is kind of useless because bosses they're resistant to status effects. They have upper limits on how many status stacks, procs, can be active at a time. And they largely reduce effectiveness. But I think that reveals exactly how much Digital Extremes views status damage as being overpowered or strong. Because their boss design has status damage take a back seat to just regular damage. And I'm still trying to understand exactly how to get the most out of my status damage. I don't think I'm doing it in the most efficient way possible. But I am starting to figure it out pretty well. And Komei was the thing that made that change happen for me. Oh, none of us clicked on Kalimos? Go, Kalimos. Do your job. I was too busy yapping to notice that we weren't even working towards the objective. I figured the guy in chat who said, not yet, would have been the one to be on that. I really should have moved my camera. Can't see if I have my buffs or not.
Kalimos, quickly now to her side.
Uh-oh. Just do a full screen clear for a second. I could be using spores in the regular way as well. You don't have to just do the augmented version when you put the augment that does another weapon buff. But sometimes I find that running like trying to keep up with the spore damage to be a little bit tedious, especially when we're in a squad where the enemies are going to be put down so fast that and put down in groups, mind you, so that there's no range. They're not in range for the spores to spread to another enemy. Sometimes Saren synergy with the team is great. Sometimes Saren synergy with the team should be refocused to solo play. I guess that's my final word on that. If we're running Sanctuary for Affinity, spores all day. Spores everywhere you can put them. In these situations where the team is really good at closing out a room,
consumes and it learns.
I think that spores are kind of a waste of time in terms of damage efficiency. Good job, guys. You did it.
Sanctuary. Give it no quarter.
Alright. Let's re-up our buffs.
It's been broken. Harvest it.
Reminding everyone that I cannot see my buffs. You guys see where my camera is? That is where my camera is on my screen too. Another issue of streaming from the PlayStation 5. We are not able... I am not able to see my own screen in full. I see the exact same screen you guys do. It is kind of like Sony listened to no feedback whatsoever when doing or thinking about any kind of update to its on-platform streaming service. Kalimos. Yeah, that's the thing about this mission type. It makes you feel real bad for even doing a slightly bad job. And Eleanor is just like, hey, you are being a bad cat parent. Kalimos is all alone and in danger, and it's all your fault. You should feel shame. And I do feel shame. As the proud, loving parent to 2 cats, I feel a lot of shame when I see that little bar turn red over Kalimos' head. I hate it. It's the opposite of the good vibes of Pet the Dog. Oh, come on, this guy wasn't even near Kalimos yet. Was that a slur? I don't know what that word that person posted was. Seems like a slur to me. Most words I don't know are in fact slurs.
It is done.
I have learned that enough from experience.
Now, or if you have it in you, ask Kalimos to find the next Legosite. Remember, the tech rot evolves quickly, and your next battle will be harder still.
Here we go. What, really? It moved. Oh, this is the room where the map breaks.
You, and others like you. It sees your powers and copies them.
There we go, this way. Alright, let's re-up again just in case. Oh no, I fell. Gotta get back up there. Where is it? There you are. Die. Now we can see this weapon try to shine against a particularly tough enemy. And you know, it's not down in one. It's not all red crits. But look, he shreds. He melted away. That might have been a little hard to see because of the zoom.
You'll learn from what you just did to it.
Alright, we're going to extract.
Again, but no, it will be tougher next time.
The team is gone. That transfer put me solo. But yeah, you don't even have to aim if you don't want to. But it will increase your fire rate. Alright, let's leave. Time to go. a Tommy Psycho full 100 meters. Completely pointless, but fun.
Splendid hunting.
Oh. I know something we can do that'll be silly and fun for the last thing we can do. Let's do an Atomic Cycle race in Orbalis. We will do...
Being bored is worse than being overworked.
Let's go solo, so that we don't interrupt anyone with this nonsense. But you will see Orbalis, surprisingly good for just playing around on your Atomic Cycle. Alright. This is a track that I have endearingly titled the Temple Run. And I'm pretty sure I can do it in only 4 parsecs. Using the brake to boost is very fun to do as well. You basically never have to stop boosting when using the Atomic Cycle, and it's ridiculous. You can very quickly... I mean, of course, nothing's ever going to be better than Itzel, but do you see these sweet Akira turns that we're doing? And unless it's a really sharp turn, you can pretty much still navigate it with the Atomic Cycle. You just have to choose your moments a little bit, because you are affected by physics while doing this. And the one thing I really wish is that you could grind on the rails like you do K-drives with your Atomic Cycle, but we'll see. Alright, you gotta really watch out for their vehicles when you're doing this, because just like with the K-drive, one bump from them can knock you off and really mess up your run there. Now, of course, there are no tools that I have in order to actually tell what my time is. But does it matter if it's this fun? I don't think so. So typically the temple run goes in the other direction, but we're gonna go this way. Oh, I slowed down. You see how fun this is? This is straight up just how a racing game would play if we could include other players and have some systems to dictate it, to like block off different parts of different tracks and actually time things. It would be great if we could set up like the finish line. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Oh, shoot! I really messed myself up there. Alright, we are not going to go through the temple, we're going to go around. I'm really glad that the bug that made the Atomic Cycle work in missions has resulted in this kind of play. It's the best. And then we're here. We've hit the end. That did not take long to go around what is essentially almost half of the Orbalis map. So let me show you where we started. We start here, of course. And here's the path of this little fake racing mode that we just took. And how it only took, what, like five minutes, if that? We started here. came out, ran through the Coolant Reservoir, past the Temple of Fabrication, up around through the mountain onto the east side of the Temple of Prophet, then came round this side, past Central Maintenance, and then I normally have the temple run just go cut right in here back into Fortuna. But this time I went around the Horindi crater, past ate shit over here at the Oregon dig site, then past the spaceport and then back down here. And it was, again, one lap was maybe 3-5 minutes. I wasn't really paying that much attention. But yeah, they need to stop working on mini games and start making legit, like, use their existing systems and create distinct modes that are out of the typical flow of a Warframe mission. Just fun game modes. A racing mode should be their top priority. Okay, that whole run couldn't have just been 5 minutes because my whole mission time was 5 minutes. So what, was that run really 3 minutes? I think that's pretty fun. That's a pretty fun thing to do. I want Warframe to update with a game mode that facilitates this kind of play. All right. That is going to be it for me, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. Maihara, Derek, you're the real ones chatting with me on this, my first ever stream in like 5 years, since the last time I streamed was a Bloodborne speedrun on my PlayStation 4. We will hopefully do this again sometime pretty soon, and if you can make it out whenever that happens, I appreciate it. No stream schedule because life is chaos and this is not my job. So when that happens, hope to see you then. Bye, guys.
I was up all night making this crap for you ingrates. Buy something so I can get some sleep. Hit guns, get